All right, at this time, I call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody, to the January 11th, 2022 City Commission meeting. At this time, I'll ask Mrs. Manning to call the roll.
Commissioner Penny?
Here.
Commissioner Curry?
Here.
Commissioner Danio?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Villa?
Here. And I will also remind you to please silence your cell phones at this time. If you have any electronic devices that make any noise that could disrupt the meeting, I ask you to please silence it. And I'll ask you all to please stand for the invocation led by Commissioner John Danio and continue standing afterwards for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, for Commissioner Curry's sake, I found out today that Francis Scott Key died on this date in 1843 at the ripe old age of 63. And I say that because back in those days, if you lived to 50, you were old. And everyone knows that he wrote the Star-Spangled Banner and that the song represents the freedom we have in this country. I started thinking about all the freedoms, and we do have freedoms. But we also have a God that takes care of all the details, and we aren't in control of that. So the Bible tells us that if we have His Son to set us free, we'll be free indeed. So let's pray. God, we just lift up everything tonight to you, God, all the details, all the things that are happening in this country, in this world that ultimately we can't do anything about, and we just trust you with that, God. Be with all those that are struggling with illness, whether it be COVID or anything else. And we just pray for those on the front lines. And God, we ask you to give us some wisdom tonight in this meeting. Help us to make sound, good decisions for the city of Holly Hill. And we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner. I did not.
Thank you for the.
I told you.
I told him every time he has invocation, I learned something. I get some enlightenment out of it.
A little nugget.
All righty. Well, I don't have the Employee of the Year proclamation. Do you have it? No. Is Chris Reeves here tonight? No. No? Okay. All right, so we have a few presentations here tonight. And the first one is the 2021 Employee of the Year, which is Chris Reeves, Water Plant Operator 3. Thank you, sir.
Oh, we didn't have, okay.
I don't have it right here. He's not here tonight. I will read this into the record to honor our Employee of the Year, Chris Reeves. This is a resolution of the City of Holly Hill recognizing Chris Reeves as Employee of the Year 2021, whereas Chris Reeves, Water Treat Plant Operator 3 in the Public Works Department for the City of Holly Hill was selected by the executive staff as the Employee of the Year 2021 and began his employment with the City of Holly Hill on December 28, 2015. And whereas Chris Reeves works the often forgotten C shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., and whereas Chris, during this past year, has been mentoring our newly licensed operators and has been instrumental in the development of many projects and upgrades in the water department. And whereas the operators refer to Chris as the night owl, he is always vigilant during his shift, and he often finds equipment issues before they become an emergency. And whereas Chris has assisted the water plant mechanic this past year in developing a better maintenance plan for the upcoming year, and he often stays after his shift to diagnose mechanical issues with the plant mechanic. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, we hereby recognize Chris Reeves, Water Treatment Plant Operator, as Employee of the Year 2021. We'll make sure that he gets that recognition. Thank you very much, Antoine, for providing that. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, now we'll move to B, 2021 Corporate Citizen of the Year. And this is, of course, a valued partner here in the city of Holly Hill. And I see that we have the Martins here to accept this. This is Pictona at Holly Hill, which I'm sure all of you are very, very familiar with. And now I will read this proclamation into the record, and then I'll ask the Martins to come up and accept it on behalf of Pictona at Holly Hill. This is a resolution of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, recognizing... Hold on. This is a different one as well. Do I have the... I don't have that one here. Here, I have it on here, though. Bear with me. This is live. We'll cut this part out later. All right. 2021 Corporate Citizen of the Year, Pictona at Holly Hill. A resolution of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, recognizing Pictona at Holly Hill as the Corporate Citizen of the Year for 2021. Whereas the Holly Hill Chamber of Commerce has nominated Pictona at Holly Hill as the Corporate Citizen of the Year 2021, and whereas this recognition represents a Holly Hill Chamber of Commerce business member that has gone above and beyond for not only the businesses in Holly Hill, but its residents, the city, and the county. And whereas since opening their doors in the summer of 2020, Julie and Rainer Martins have worked tirelessly to support the local community in a great time of need. From community drives such as food drops, the community gardens, and blood drives, to opportunities for the community to be educated on COVID-19 resources through safe workshops and the complimentary classes available at the Senior Activity Center. The well-being of the individual has always been a top priority. And whereas when it comes to the love of the game, Pictona at Holly Hill offers a world-renowned facility that has put Holly Hill on the map and has created a sought-out destination of our city. The guests that visit Pictona at Holly Hill visit other small businesses while in the area, and many chamber members are feeling positive ripples from the large tournaments held here on site. And whereas the expansion into Pictona 2 will bring more jobs, more visitors, and more recognition to our small but mighty city, Julie, Rainer, and the whole Pictona at Holly Hill staff are making a difference daily in the livelihood of our business owners and the lives of the residents of Holly Hill. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, we hereby recognize Pictona at Holly Hill as the Corporate Citizen of the Year 2021, and witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city to be affixed this first day of January 2022. Congratulations to the Martins, and I don't know if you wanted to say a few words here tonight. Thank you. Good. I know you don't like the recognition. And if you're sticking around for the meeting, I believe Val's going to print out this proclamation, so we'll have that in a little bit. All right, so thank you very much for partnering with us and investing more into our great city, and we're hoping for the best to come from the county. Hopefully the county decides to be a great partner to the City of Holly Hill as well. Now we will move to a proclamation that I've been happy to do each and every year in office, and that is Human Trafficking Awareness Day. A lot of people don't realize that it's a real issue throughout the United States, and people don't understand, because you may not see it, that it actually exists here in America, and it's despicable. So we want to make sure that we always recognize this Awareness Day. So I will read this proclamation into the record. This is a proclamation by the Mayor of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, declaring January 11, 2022 Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Whereas human trafficking is the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, or obtaining of a person for labor or services through the use of force, fraud, or coercion for the purpose of forced labor or sexual servitude. And whereas human trafficking is a $32 billion a year global criminal enterprise and is a crime as well as a civil and human rights violation, and an estimated 25 million people are currently victims of human trafficking for both sex and labor. And whereas human traffickers prey on their victims by promising a life of hope and greater opportunity while delivering only enslavement. Instead of delivering people to better lives, traffickers unjustifiably profit from the labor and toil of their victims, who they force through violence and intimidation to work at brothels and factories, on farms and fishing vessels, in private homes, and in countless industries. And whereas the city of Holly Hill, Florida is a vibrant city, home to over 12,000 residents who have the right to hope, freedom, economic security, safety, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas this month, the city does not simply reflect on this appalling reality, the city also pledges to do all it can within its power to end the horrific practice of human trafficking that plagues innocent victims not only around the world but in our own neighborhoods. And whereas more awareness and education is crucial to eradicating human trafficking in our communities, state, and nation. And whereas Human Trafficking Awareness Day is observed on January 11th in municipalities across the country in order to educate the public and to raise awareness about human trafficking, and the City of Holly Hill has a strong commitment to social justice. Now therefore, I, Chris Villa, Mayor of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim January 11th as Human Trafficking Awareness Day and urges its residents and surrounding agencies to support efforts and take action to end human trafficking. Is there anyone in the audience here? Oh, there you are. Would you like to come forward and accept the proclamation? And do you have any words you wanted to say tonight? Okay. Who are you here with?
I'm with the Freedom 7 Task Force, but I'm also the Holly Hill Police Department Victim Advocate.
Oh, great. Yes, you're the victim advocate. Everybody, please put your hands together for our new victims advocate here. If you could accept that. Thank you very much. Yes, we appreciate your hard work. And this is our new victims advocate that works here in our police department, and we are very, very blessed to have her. She has been working with many members of the community already, and we've
Mayor,
seen the reports.
Also, I'd just like to say that the Christmas Club, the Community Christmas Club that donates food boxes every year, she was kind enough to take over my position on the board. Thank you for that. And she really stepped up to come out and help this past year in December.
That's awesome.
It was so much fun.
Sorry to embarrass you.
No.
We're good at that.
Yeah. All right, and now we're going to move to our historic landmark plaque presentations by the Holly Hill Historical Society. I didn't get with you before this, but do you have a plan here of who's going to come up first? All right. So the president of the Holly Hill Historical Society, Gil Adams, will come forth. And Mr. Dean Wiggins. Well, we got to do it into the mic for the recording, so legally speaking.
Take this mouthpiece off.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we have two plaques. The Janowski Cottage at 416 Daytona Avenue.
Thank you, Brian.
Janowski Cottage is going to Jessica Day. She's restored the house at 416 Daytona Avenue. It was the family that built it was the ones who built the first motor court in Holly Hill in 1933 and started the ball rolling for all the motor courts you see in Holly Hill. And it was also on our tour of homes one year. She should appreciate that. And here is your plaque. As the year, built in 1920.
Picture up.
And we'll get a picture of you.
All right.
Can we get a picture
Yep.
of y'all later? And
Yes, do you want to do with the commission?
afterward, or-
Janowski House.
Do you want to do it with the commission?
Okay.
Yeah? All right, maybe commission, we could come here, and then if you want to come up here, do you have
Stand
someone
in
to take the photo? If you want to come right up here. Let's see it first. Let's see it.
Oh, wow,
That's not the right one.
Very nice.
Gil, you need to get in there.
Yeah, Gil, get in there. Yeah, you can hand it to her.
It's the house on Daytona Avenue.
There you go.
He's the president. Jessica looking at the camera. She keeps looking away.
There you go.
Awesome. Beautiful home. Oh. Beautiful home. Thank you
Yes,
for
thank
receiving.
We'll get, who took it? We'll get one.
All right. And I believe you have one more designation for a famous home we have here in our community.
One is a long time coming. It's Chuck Ickes, who has the Bill McCoy home at 1090 Riverside Drive. In 1898, the McCoy family moved into Holly Hill, and they had found the city in 1901. And he was the famous rum runner. And he's been very generous in opening the house up for our tour of homes every year. And this past November, we had our inaugural rum jamboree, which was very successful. And we hope to do it again. And we'll welcome Chuck Ickes.
There we go. If you'd like to come forward too, and yeah.
Yeah, good.
Awesome.
Yo, what's the difference in the two plaques? That was the old one?
That's awesome.
That's nice.
Good to see you, Chuck. Well, thank you to the Holly Hills Historical Society for doing that. Yes,
I'd like to
President Adams.
add to the rum jamboree that we had. This city commission and the town manager were very helpful in letting us have that take place, and Chuck was as well. And it was a big event, and we actually helped the Historical Society acquire $3,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's really good. And also, we would like to thank Victona. They gave us $250 to help us print our new calendars.
Oh,
And that
wow.
was very nice of them. They're our neighbors, of course, but that was very exceptional.
Wow.
And we appreciate that.
Well, thank you, and you know, when it came to the event, it became before the city commission and to waive the fees, and it was a little late in the game, and I know the commission decided to individually pay for those fees. I still have to write you a check for that individually, so I'll get with you, but I also want to buy one of those calendars for 2022 as well, so.
They're very nice.
So if you're still here afterwards, I'll get with one of you, probably the treasurer, right?
We have the calendars, and we also have a new book called Hotels to Motels, which shows every motor court, plus more in the Halifax area, of the history of motor courts in Holly Hill.
All right, well, I'll have to buy that as well. All right.
And as all of you all know, you all know that there's a lot of history in Holly Hill, and this whole commission has been helping that go along.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate the homeowners here, and hope you put up those plaques very proudly, and we're proud to have you a part of our history going forward. So thank you very much, and I appreciate you being here tonight. Now we will, item E, we have moved to our next meeting. So we will present that proclamation at the next meeting. And before we move forward, the Martins, if you could come up, we have the proclamation now to present with you, if we could get a picture with you.
More pictures.
Yes, yes. Praise God.
We appreciate this.
Yes, yes.
Surprised, we didn't know this.
Oh, really? Here, flip it around for the picture. Turn it around to face Brian. There we go.
What do you,
Tall, he was blocking your head.
I know, how about that?
Stand up.
I'm always short.
There we go. Should have seen him when he had hair.
Go on, I can only stand on my tippy toes so long.
Get a calf workout. Awesome. Put your hands together again for Pictona. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you once again for everyone here for those presentations. Now we're going to move to the next item on our agenda, which is our public comments. This is an opportunity for the public to speak to the City Commission about anything not on our regular agenda tonight. You will have 5 minutes. If there's anyone that wants to speak, just raise your hand. Yes, ma'am. Hi, Ms. Heller.
Hey there. Hello and good evening. I am Heidi Heller of 460 Ridgewood Avenue in the future excellent city of Holly Hill, Florida. I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to share with you. I would like to say how much I appreciate all the efforts of the commissioners, city staff, businesses, and interested general public who act on their desire to make our city better. We have beautiful parks, public facilities that are constantly being upgraded, businesses that adjust with the changes to remain viable, neighbors that enable our houses to become our homes. It looks like soon we will have the World Center of Pickleball, known as Pictona at Holly Hill, and a wonderful RV resort. Of course, our city is not perfect for everyone, has their own priorities and values. Not everyone is happy about everything, but I do thank you again for having the passion for our city. I would like to recommend a change, though. Has been often implied, mentioned, or said that Holly Hill is somewhat derelict. It is a drug haven, lacks the correct level of care or even existence of care required for a wholesome community to maintain itself. It is time that Holly Hill changes its own labeling of itself to fulfill its own potential. I would like to offer a change of our slogan, our motto, from business friendly to Holly Hill is the future. We are doing good, we are improving, and we are willing to improve, and we want to tell everybody about it. Maybe you are not looking for a new slogan right now for advertising or street signs or business cards, but I would like Holly Hill is the future to be on the list for future consideration of any new motto. Why? Because Holly Hill is the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Ms. Heller. All right, we'll continue with our public comments. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak to the commission tonight? Yes, sir. Just come forward and,
I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time or not. Is this the appropriate time?
for what?
I'll sit and wait on it until John says it's the appropriate time.
Okay, is it on an item on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
At the end.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the commission tonight? All right, I will close public comment, and we will go to the approval of minutes. The minutes from December 14th, 2021, continuation discussion of ARPA workshop, and December 14th, 2021, regular city commission meeting. Do we have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. We'll open this up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on either of the minutes tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Now moving to number 5, our consent agenda. We have 2 items on the consent agenda. Would a commissioner like to remove any item? All right, the action proposed is stated for each item on the consent agenda. Unless the city commissioner removes an item from the consent agenda, no discussion on individual items will occur, and a single motion will approve all items. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on any item on the consent agenda tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda by Vice Mayor Penny and a second by Commissioner Danio. No discussion is needed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The consent agenda carries unanimously. Now moving to number 6, our regular agenda. Number 1, Resolution 2022-R-3. Mr. Simpson.
Resolution number 2022-R-3 by title only for first and only reading. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Volusia County, Florida, amending the adopted budget for the City of Holly Hill for the fiscal year 2021-2022 and providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Mr. Forte.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement announced that the City of Holly Hill Police Department has been awarded the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program for a total amount of $2,845, which will go toward the purchase of 2 Starker handheld traffic radio units. The funds will be utilized to purchase 2 traffic units that will allow our traffic officers to monitor traffic flow and speeds on residential streets. This will greatly improve our ability to respond to traffic complaints and better deployment of our officers to enforce traffic laws in targeted areas. The staff is recommending that the City Commission approve the resolution by amending the adopted budget for the City of Holly Hill for the fiscal year 21-22.
Thank you, Mr. Forte. Is there any question from the commission for staff? All right. At this time, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the commission on this item tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. I'll entertain a motion for approval of Resolution 2022-R-3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Curry and a second from Commissioner Danio. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The resolution carries unanimously. Now moving to number 7, our public hearings. This is our first ordinance tonight, Ordinance 2021-0-3044. Mr. Simpson.
Mayor, there's actually 2 ordinances, 3044 and 305.
Thank you.
3045. 3044 is a comprehensive plan amendment, and then 3045 is a corresponding rezoning ordinance. Consistent with past policy or practice, what we do is I'll read both ordinances titles. Staff will make a presentation on the overall project, and then when you go to vote on it, I'd recommend you vote on each ordinance separately. One is a legislative policy setting of 3044, and 3045, the rezoning is quasi-judicial, so 2 different types of ordinances we're adopting. So I recommend you vote on them separately, but it's easier for staff just to make one presentation as to try to break up the presentation to what's relevant for each ordinance. So I'll read both titles, if that's okay.
Perfect.
Ordinance number 3044 by title only for second and final reading. An ordinance of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan by amending the future land use map designation of certain property identified as 1012 8th Street, having parcel number 4244-01-07-0081 by virtue of a small-scale future land use map amendment, changing the future land use map designation from MXZ, mixed-use zone, to general commercial, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. And ordinance number 3045 by title only for second and final reading. An ordinance of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, amending the land development regulations by amending the official zoning map to designate the property described at 1012 8th Street, having parcel number 4244-01-07-0081, and further described in Attachment A from MH1 Mobile Home to CC1 Commercial Corridor District, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simpson. Mr. Forte?
Mr. Walker?
All right, the floor is yours, Mr. Walker.
Mayor, Commissioners, this is before you for second reading. The applicant at the property at 1012 8th Street had petitioned that the property be annexed into the city, which occurred on October 12, 2021, when the City Commission voted unanimously to approve the annexation. So now at this point, the applicant needs their property to receive city zoning and the future land use that is appropriate for our city, instead of the zoning and future land use that has been applied by Volusia County. So the request is to go from mixed-use Volusia County to general commercial Holly Hill, and a rezone from MH1 Mobile Home Park to CC1 Commercial Corridor Holly Hill. The property has been analyzed in terms of its infrastructure impacts. One of the things that we do when we consider a change to land use is an analysis comparing the maximum development potential under each land use. That has been done. We've looked at impacts to traffic, potable water, wastewater, and solid waste, and staff has summarized it in a report that is attached as Exhibit G, titled Infrastructure Impact Analysis. Overall, the impacts would be greater if you approve this amendment in terms of the future land use. That is because the development potential under the commercial corridor is greater than it is under the county's mixed-use future land use. However, the city does have the ability to handle the increased impacts to the infrastructure. We've looked at the proposal in terms of consistency with the comprehensive plan. The proposed plan is consistent with the comprehensive plan or the proposed amendment. And also when we look at the zoning, CC1, the zoning that is east of this parcel is CC1, and the zoning that is to the north and to the south is industrial. So it makes sense to apply the CC1 zoning to this particular parcel. Based on that, staff recommends adoption of the proposed ordinance enacting a small-scale future land use map amendment from MXZ mixed-use Volusia County to general commercial Holly Hill, and another ordinance proposing the enaction of a rezone from MH1 Mobile Home Park, Volusia County, to CC1 Commercial Corridor Holly Hill for approximately 1.25 acres located approximately 350 feet west of Nova Road North on the north side of 8th Street, and more specifically known as 1012 8th Street. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Is there any questions for staff? All right, seeing none, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this public hearing tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation, and I'll entertain a motion for approval. Let me be clear about that. A motion for approval for ordinance 3044. Right. Is there a second? We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Johnson and a second from Vice Mayor Penny. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Now, I will entertain a motion for approval for ordinance 3045.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion for approval from Commissioner Curry and a second from Commissioner Johnson. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. All right, moving to our next public hearing. This is number 2, ordinance 2022-0-3046. Mr. Simpson?
Ordinance number 2022-0-3046 by title only for first reading. An ordinance of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan by adding text allowing specific parcels identified as 4242-04-28-0171, aka 490 Flomish Street, 4242-38-02-0080, 4242-38-02-0010, and 4242-38-01-0010, aka 504 Flomish Street, to be developed as a recreational vehicle park by virtue of a large-scale comprehensive plan text amendment, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you very much. And before you take the floor, Brian, Mr. Simpson, should we now declare any ex parte communication?
No, this is a legislative policy decision. It is not quasi-judicial. There is no need to disclose ex parte communication. If this proceeds, ultimately there will be a plan development rezoning that comes before you. That will be quasi-judicial, and that will be the time to disclose ex parte communication.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Simpson. All right, sorry to make you get up and down, Mr. Walker, but the floor is now yours.
If it pleases the commission, I thought what I would do is give a very brief tutorial on the differences between comprehensive plan and a land development code for the benefit of those in the audience who may not understand fully the differences. The city operates on the basis of two documents. One is called the comprehensive plan, and the other is called the land development regulations or the land development code. And the comprehensive plan is basically a guide for the future development of property within the city. For example, the comprehensive plan may state, and this is just an example, that all of the property along US 1 in the city is going to have a non-residential type of development. It will also say what the intensity of that development would be. So it would say how many square feet of building or non-residential type development can go on a specific site. The comprehensive plan also would say what areas are residential, what areas are industrial, what areas of the city would be multifamily, and it represents all of these different types of development on a map called the Future Land Use Map. But if you look at something and it says that it's non-residential, what does that mean? Is non-residential a coffee shop? Is it a mechanic shop? Is it a place where you will refine oil? It's not very clear. And that's where we get to the Land Development Code. The Land Development Code has regulations for the development of the property, such as how tall buildings will be, what kind of landscaping goes on the site, how big the buffers will be, but it also contains the zoning. And the zoning now specifies what types of non-residential will go in specific areas. So you'll have some areas that will be non-residential, and it will have a zoning district that allows things that are very low intensity, like coffee shops and bookstores or libraries and things of that type. But it may also, in other areas, stipulate that it would be more intense type development. So tonight, what we're dealing with is the comprehensive plan, not zoning. We're not dealing with what property is going to look like once it's developed. We're not dealing with the anything that will show as regards flood-prone issues or traffic issues or how the layout of the development is going to unfold. We're strictly looking at the use. And the comprehensive plan does not have an area for RV parks. There's no land use for that. And we don't want to simply say that they're allowed in commercial areas, because if we do that, then all commercial areas within the city would potentially be able to have a recreational vehicle park. And so we don't want to be that broad. So instead of considering allowing such parks with that type of a broad stroke, we're considering adding to the comprehensive plan a very specific policy for a very specific area. And we're proposing to do this by adding text to the comprehensive plan. Now, it should be noted that the vast majority of the parcels, there are 4 parcels that we're talking about. The largest one, which is about 19 acres, is an industrial or a heavy commercial type use. So the vast majority of the property that we're talking about is a commercial industrial type use. So with that background, and just keeping in mind, again, that we're talking about use, do we want to have an RV park at this location or not? That's really the only thing that we're considering this evening. So with that, I'll go into the actual proposal. This is a comprehensive plan major amendment. It's to consider a text amendment to the city's comprehensive plan to allow a recreational vehicle park, and that it be located on specific parcels that have the wholesale commercial and industrial and low-density residential future land uses. The parcels are generally located on the north side of Floman Street, immediately west of the railroad and east of Tuscaloosa Avenue. And they're specifically identified by the property appraiser's office as 490 Floman Street, 504 Floman Street, and then two parcels that are not specifically addressed but have parcel ID numbers as 4242-38-02-0080 and 4242-38-02-0010. And just by way of a little background, the city has really been experiencing good growth with regard to our recreational facilities and our special events. We talked tonight about Pictona, and they're just one example. They're a large recreational facility recently completed in the city. They're one of the largest dedicated pickleball facilities in the state. They're undergoing growth is being proposed at this time. And so with all of that, there's increased potential and activity in the way of monthly and overnight tournaments. The facility already hosts tournaments that cover several days and that go overnight. And they bring people from other areas, many of whom arrive in recreational vehicles. The city also hosts events, such as an annual overnight art show, and that brings folks from different areas. Many of the artists arrive in recreational vehicles, they have their artwork and supplies, and so there's been this need to be able to have an area where these recreational vehicles can stay. The overnight stays that occur because of the increased activity really, again, have generated the need for a local venue where recreational vehicles can spend several days. And we don't have that type of a venue. We don't want these folks to go to areas that are outside of the city. We'd prefer them to stay here in Holly Hill. And again, while the city desires to have such a venue, it doesn't have a land use that allows recreational vehicle parks. And it's not our desire to amend one of the current future land uses or to create a new land use just for this purpose at this time. So in order to address the need for a location that could serve as an upscale, I should say, recreational vehicle park, the city has encouraged the efforts of an applicant who sought to identify specific areas within the city and specific parcels that could be used for such a purpose. Working with the engineering firm Zev Cohen and Associates, the applicant has come up with an area and has come to the conclusion that the parcels outlined in Exhibit A would be well-suited for an upscale recreational vehicle park. The site has been analyzed in terms of facility impacts to the adjacent neighborhood, its ability to further the goals of the comprehensive plan, and its ability to meet all of the requirements of the Volusia County Health Department. And it should be noted that the Volusia County Health Department is the agency that the state uses to govern recreational vehicle parks, and the state, and as using the Volusia County Health Department, their rules and regulations preempt the city of Holly Hills when it comes to the development of an upscale recreational vehicle park. The site consists of 4 parcels. According to the property appraiser's office, the acreages are 9.23 acres, 1.38, 0.92, and 2.07 for a total of 23.6 acres. The largest parcel, which is the 9.23 acres, has a future land use of wholesale, commercial, and industrial. However, the remaining parcels, totaling 4.37 acres, have a future land use of low-density residential.
Brian, I
Yes,
think
sir.
you said 9. I think you meant 19.
isn't it?
Yeah.
19, yes. Thank you. Okay. So the largest is 19.23, and that particular one has a wholesale, commercial, and industrial future land use. The others total 4.37, and they have a future land use of low-density residential. The underlying future land uses are not being changed. So the parcels that have the low-density residential, or future land use of low-density residential, they will always be able to have homes or residential homes on them, even if this particular text amendment is adopted. The parcel that has the commercial and the wholesale and industrial will always be able to have that type of development, even if this is adopted. So the city is seeking with the applicant a specific text amendment to the comprehensive plan that will permit the use of an upscale vehicle park, recreational vehicle park, as defined in Chapter 513 of the Florida statutes. And there is in your staff report a sheet that is labeled definitions and will show what the state considers a recreational vehicle park to be. If an applicant seeks to develop the site as a recreational vehicle park, the site would be required to be rezoned via the planned development process in order to guarantee that specific performance measures such as buffering from the adjacent neighborhood or from the railroad are carried out. It would be at that time when we do the rezoning that we would then look at the layout. We would then look at issues with regard to the site, with regard to flood issues, traffic, and those types of things. It's a little dry reading, but I will go through the exact language of the proposed text amendment. It would be policy 5.3.4. In order to provide parking and amenities for city and private events, tournaments, and other activities that generate economic benefit to the city, development of a recreational vehicle park area with amenities shall be permitted on parcel 4242-04-28-0171, having a future land use of wholesale commercial and industrial, and parcels 4242-38-02-0080 and 4242-38-02-0010 and 4242-38-01-0010, having a future land use of low-density, single-family residential. The development area shall be a minimum of 20 acres in size, and development shall be limited to a floor area ratio of 0.35 and a maximum of 150 recreational vehicle sites. The development of the recreational vehicle park shall be reviewed and approved through the plan development rezone process. There's information included in your staff report that gives more details about the project. There are flood-prone areas on the property. There are wetlands on the property as well. From an environmental standpoint, because of the size and the types of soils and the fact that it's mainly vacant, prior to development, the applicant will be required to identify known plants and animals which inhabit the site and that are listed as federal and state endangered species, threatened species, or species of special concern, such as the gopher tortoise, which is probably the most likely thing to be there, if at all. With regard to the site analysis, again, we're not looking to change the future land use. However, the site and the activity has still been analyzed in terms of its infrastructure impacts. And in a nutshell, it can be said and shown through competent and substantial evidence that the impacts of a recreational vehicle park would be less than the impacts to the property and to the city's resources if it were built out as an industrial type development, industrial or commercial development. However, the impacts are shown in the attached analysis, which is labeled Exhibit I. With regard to consistency with the comprehensive plan, we still reviewed the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan to determine if the proposed text amendment is consistent with the overall comprehensive plan. I did provide in your staff report a more detailed analysis of specific policies and how the proposed amendment complies with those policies, and it can be noted that it does comply with the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan when we're talking about this text amendment. Based on this, staff recommends adoption of the proposed ordinance for a text amendment to the city's comprehensive plan to allow a recreational vehicle park on certain specific parcels identified by the property appraiser's office as 4242-04-28-00, 4242-04-28-0171, also known as 490 Floman Street, 424238-02-0080, 4242-38-02-0010, and 4242-38-01-0010. That particular parcel, also known as 504 Floman Street, having the wholesale, commercial, and industrial, and low-density residential future land uses, and request approval to transmit said proposed ordinance to the Development of Economic Opportunity and related review agencies. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that detailed report, Mr. Walker. At this time, I'll open it up to commissioners' questions if there are any questions, and if you do not have one now and maybe one spurred up from a comment in the audience, we can ask that after,
I don't have anything right now.
after public comment.
Oh, wait.
Okay. Thank,
Brian,
Yep.
504, that's the first address, that's west of the canal, right?
504, I can tell you exactly which one.
504 is on Flomis. 504 Flomis is just west of the canal.
Yes, it's one of the residential pieces, so
The
on the,
west.
actually, the map that was just up,
Little three-pack,
can we go back to
a
the,
little small three
Okay.
pieces.
it's very small, but the one that ends in 010010. So it will be, if we're looking at this particular screen, it would be the one on the left.
Aren't the three little ones all in one, on Flomis?
They are, but they're individual parcels.
Yeah, but they're all on 504 Flomis, and then the big one's on 490.
The large one is 490 Flomich, and then the only other one that's addressed is the one that is on the far left as 504, and then the other two are also addressed as Flomich, but they don't have specific numerical addresses. They just have parcel ID numbers as applied by the property appraiser's office.
I got you. 494 is right at the very north end of Pine Street. Yep.
Yes.
The 504 is right across from the church.
Yes.
Yeah, it's where the house was years ago that was tore down quite a few years ago.
is that all, Commissioner? All right. Thank you, Mr. Walker. At this time, we'll open this up to public comment. If anyone in the audience would like to speak to the commission on this item tonight, you'll have 5 minutes, and I'll ask you to please state your name and address for the record. Would anybody like to speak to the commission tonight? Yes, sir. He raised his hand first. Yep.
My name's Phil Larimore. I live at 1581 Mobile Avenue in Holly Hill, which is adjacent to this property that we're talking about here. And I really just have a question. Pictona seems to have been a real good thing for the city and has helped it considerably, I take it. Do they actually, this is more of a question than anything. I don't know whether you people have the resources to tell me about it or not. Do they actually pay the city anything? Or are we just
Pictona?
waiting? Pictona, yes.
Okay. And this is only directed towards this item here tonight, not about Pictona?
Yeah, well, Pictona was in all the literature that was up on the...
Yes, sir, and I can answer that question for you too after this item. But on this item, we're specifically only discussing things has to do with this ordinance.
Oh, okay. Well, I was more concerned about, we're talking about the development of the area, and this is all, centered around recreational making a recreational place out of it.
Yes, sir. This is your time to have your comments, so you could say what you want. You'll have 5 minutes to say what you want about this ordinance.
Okay.
And then if you need clarification later, we'll make sure to clarify.
All right. Well, there's an industrial piece. The scrapyard is across the street from this property, and a church is on the corner. And did both of those places go through this particular process whenever they were put in, or
I'm not sure.
not sure? Okay.
Before
Now, there was also a bunch of streets and alleys up in that area. Were all those places abandoned legally back in those days? I mean, right where the church sits was an alley, dedicated alley there. There was a dedicated alley right across from Mobile Avenue. All those places were, I'm not sure. So is this anything that needs to be looked at?
I don't-
before we get further?
I don't know the answer to some of those questions, but I think if you can come in and get with Brian and me, we'll take a look at to see if there were platted alleys in there, if they were vacated, and maybe be able to answer some of your questions more directly.
Well, also, the church itself does have some recreational vehicles over there at times. I don't know how they dispose of everything or whatever, but the church also uses their property as part, like an RV thing for church purposes. I imagine it's all, like a revival type thing goes on there, so. All right, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, and sorry if it was a little confusing. I was trying to understand what you were telling to us, and we will make sure to answer your questions. Mr. Forte is really good, and Mr. Walker to get with you with all your answers or questions. If you want to, after the meeting, get their card, you can call them directly and have those answers for you. Yes, sir. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak? Yes, sir.
My name is Kelly Williamson. I currently am not a resident of Holly Hills, but I have been here quite a bit over the years. And I also own an RV park outside of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So just to let you know what the impact for your city could be for this to happen, if it's ran correctly, and I think from what I've seen in the plans, everything would be, really great for y'all. And you can bank on the fact that if he's doing 150 sites, you're going to look at probably $15,000 to $20,000 a year in revenue per site minimum. Then you look at the impact in the area around you. Those people are going to spend as much in restaurants, grocery stores, doing stuff in your business as they spend at the RV park. So you can put basically $5 million a year into your stream of revenue. And you look at the tax base on $5 million, it's incredible. So, and just from the fact that I own an RV park, I know what it can do. So you guys, you should look at this really on a favorable point of view. It's not a mobile home park. It's not something that's going to be people that's coming here to stay in tents and be homeless. And trust me, I've been here in your city and Daytona and Ormond and traveled around and seen plenty of stuff. This will be an asset to you guys that will be beyond belief for you. So just my opinion. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much, sir. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this item tonight to the City Commission? All right, I see no one else wanting to speak, so I'll go ahead and close public comment. And I said before, if there were any questions from the commission, you could ask them at any time. Is there any further questions?
Not from me for the language addition. So if we go further along in this, I'll obviously
For
have
discussion?
lots of questions.
Mr. Walker, if you could please come forward. I do have something that I just wanted to talk about, and we're talking here tonight whether or not the general idea for these properties is a good idea to have an RV park in our comp plan amendment. And so broadly, speaking in broad terms, one of the concerns that I've seen from the residents is the misconception that this could become a mobile home park. And I believe that the law separates these two beings or entities in a certain way. So could you speak to that on how this is specifically not a mobile home park or could become a mobile home park due to what the comp plan amendment we are making tonight?
So what we're looking to do is an upscale recreational vehicle park, which is more of it's a temporary type stay. So folks would arrive, hook up to utilities, but they would not be able to live there. Mobile home parks are places where folks have their residence. It is their home. They park their vehicles there and they live there. That is not what this would be permitted to be. It's a different animal in terms of its purpose and what you're able to do there. So we're not looking to get this permitted as a mobile home park. In fact, we do have a specific zoning already for mobile home parks. We do not have one for recreational vehicle parks. We have a future land use that allows mobile home parks because they're places of residence. We don't have a future land use that allows recreational vehicle parks. So they're very different, and this will not degrade into, I shouldn't say degrade, it will not turn into a mobile home park.
Thank you. I just wanted to get that on the record because that was one of the concerns. I'm sorry, sir, but public comment is over with. Earlier tonight, we got rid of actually mobile home designation for a certain property as well, and I don't believe that this commission has ever moved forward or talked about moving forward with more mobile home type places. So I just wanted to make that clear on the record. Thank you very much. Is there any other questions?
I do have a question,
Yeah.
Brian, I'm sorry.
Poor Brian.
Sorry? Just because I have probably seen some of the same concerns you've seen on social media, I wish those people would call me, text me, want to meet with me, so we could talk about all this. I would like you to give us an example of some allowable uses there that people could face if the property was sold to a different type of business that would be allowed and would not come before us.
Under the current comp plan.
Under the current comp plan, please.
Current comp plan? Under the current zoning.
Yeah, so-
Yes,
So you could have an industrial type development. You could have a development that has 18-wheeler trucks coming and going all day long. You could have more industrial type uses. You could have metal buildings with folks doing welding, things that make a lot of noise. So anything.
and those are allowed right now, and we have no say
They would be allowed
over
right
it.
now. With the zoning that is there, someone could come in and submit a site plan for that, and it would go through staff review, and it would be approved.
So the neighborhood could be facing allowed industrial park, if you will, in there.
Correct.
Or we have somebody that is willing to bring in the RV resort style. And I know, I got into pickleball when it was brought to our attention. I never heard of the sport. I thought, who would give a sport a name of pickleball? So, but I learned it was from the guy's dog. I know people travel this country. It's insane. People travel this country to play pickleball in RVs. I have read up a lot on this, and I really feel to complement what we've been able to do over here, and this belongs to the city. Everybody believes on Facebook that doesn't come here to participate in meetings and talk to us, that this belongs to Julie and Reiner Martin, and they're just over there, they got a cash cow going. No, they're the ones that are, I appreciate your generosity, of course, but they're the ones that are out a lot of money. That facility is ours. So I just want everybody to know that, if you're listening, all the people on Facebook, come out to our meetings, participate, and you will learn that property is the city of Holly Hill. It does not belong to the Reiners, or, I'm sorry, the Martins. And I believe that this is something that could complement what we're developing over there, because we're going to be on the map, we're already on the map for this facility. And I think if you look at it, Commission, people have a choice in their neighborhood right now of light industrial, noisy, all that. I think if we go ahead and make this an addition, that we're going to see this city bloom more than what we really expect right now. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Brian, when you say industrial, like the metal, is it like comparable to something that we could relate to in our head, like Carswell, State Avenue?
Yes.
That's pretty much.
Plant.
Yes.
Concrete plant.
Well, not a concrete plant, because that would be heavy industrial, I-2 zoning,
But
but
just so people kind of get a
certainly,
picture,
yes.
yeah, drive down Carswell,
State and Carswell is actually a perfect example
of what could be there.
of what could be there.
Right. Thank you.
And I just wanted people to realize what could be on that property without our say. It's already there.
Right. Are there any further questions for staff? All right, with this, we'll go ahead and take a vote. This is for ordinance.
Now, is this,
Call for a motion.
yeah,
but
never mind.
A motion for approval?
I'll second.
We have a motion for approval from Commissioner Johnson and a second from Commissioner Curry.
Forget my.
Is there any, I was reading, is there any discussion needed?
I think it's going to be a great project, I really do. I think we need to move forward in progress, and because everybody else is. Why shouldn't we too?
Commissioner Curry, did you have anything further?
The future. That's all I gotta say. Ms. Heidi Heller said it best, the future.
There you go. Anyone further? All right. Yeah, and I just want to say that tonight with this comp plan amendment, in a lot of ways, and I'll remind anyone listening at home or here tonight that I was the District 4 City Commissioner, and that is my neighborhood. It's where I grew up, right off of Flomish my entire life. I still live right off of Flomish, and I pass by that property every single day. And the possibilities for that property are endless, and a lot of them are bad for that type of neighborhood, especially when you talk about the allowable uses right now. So if a businessman came into town and said, I want to have 18-wheelers going in and out of this all day, there's not much that this city commission can do to stop it. And so seeing that this project is potential use is very exciting to me. I look at this as actually protecting this neighborhood and with this use instead of a use that is expanded upon. So that's why I'll be voting in favor of this tonight.
If the last residence on that property was cattle and horses, which I kept a lot of horses on, so Ms. Bishop didn't have to pay so much taxes. And when he took the green belt off, I took the horses off. But she had dairy cattle on it and everything on it. It's been just like a farm. It's been vacant for over 40 years.
That's right, it has.
Vacant over 40 years. Now what's going to be? Now it can generate a good income.
Right. Well, not only that, with people visiting our city so often now, they have a place to stay, and when they're here for tournaments, and they can stay right here in our city instead of going elsewhere. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Now I'll move to number 8, communications from our city manager, Mr. Forte.
I have a number of things I'd like to update the commission on. The city signed a purchase and sale agreement for the city-owned property at 627 Ridgewood Avenue, and that's with the Daytona Climbing Company. I spoke with each of you individually on the conditions of that purchase and the timing of when that is. I just want to let you know that we signed the agreement today. I'm waiting for now the buyers to sign in.
Mr. Forte, can I interrupt you just a second,
Certainly.
please? I just want y'all to know two of the people that are involved with this project, one was one of our police explorers, all through his teenage years, and lived in Holly Hill. And another one lived in Holly Hill, that his family owned the Tour Ice off of Beach Street. So I'm just thrilled that all three of them live in Holly. Well, I don't know the third
There's a
one.
total of 5 partners.
I know the two.
3 of them were either current or previous.
I am absolutely thrilled, especially since one of them was our police explorer, that they're coming back to our city. They're leaving where they are. They're coming here, and it just adds to our recreational aspect. I'm excited, though, I mean, they were kids, lived here, grew up here, and now they're coming back with their business.
And for the benefit of the
Awesome.
public, Mr. Forte, could you explain what they are bringing here and what their vision is that we'll be able to see
Initially,
right off of
it's a
West One?
rock climbing wall business that they will have. It's got to go through the PUD zoning process, so we're going to come back with site plan and the PUD. But what they're looking for, it would be ultimately a 40-foot building that will have rock climbing and rappelling and all that inside the building. There'll be windows facing Ridgewood Avenue that you'll actually be able to see this activity at night as they're climbing and you look into the lighted building. So it'll be pretty nice. It'll be about a 16 to 20,000 square foot building. At least half of it will be rock climbing. The other half will be things like a store that sells rock climbing equipment. They may put in a bit of a cafe or some other retail component to go along with it. They're expecting about a 2-year build-out and to invest up to $2.5 million into the project.
And they're very successful right now in a neighboring city.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Were you just updating us on the
Yeah,
contract?
just to let you know that it was signed today, and hopefully it'll continue to move forward.
Great.
Just to remind you, we've got an opening on the Board of Planning and Appeals and an opening on the Police Pension Board that needs to be filled. I met with Doc Bailey this week. We found out that the seaplane base is actually going to be a go.
What?
Yeah.
After all this time.
What turned out over these last 3 years was that the federal government in the Manatee Protection Zone determined that the seaplane doesn't count as a vessel with regard to the Manatee Protection, and as long as they stay in the state waters, there's no violation. So they've determined his request to be moot and doesn't apply to them. So he's coming back on, DOT is coming back on February 8th to do an inspection of the site, and at this point he believes that they have everything in place to go ahead and begin to use it as an actual sea-place landing strip. We still have to go back and renew our agreements that we had with them because they've since expired. So it's kind of exciting that it's kind of come this far. It's taken a long time and probably an unnecessary long time, but at least it's here.
I think it's been 5 years, Joe, not 3. Yeah, because I was
The
a
last 3
commissioner.
years has been kind of nothing
Oh,
happening
yeah,
is what I
stagnant.
meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, it's probably been about 5 years.
Yeah, Doc Bailey has really worked behind the scenes, and we've tried to help him with Congressman Waltz and several state legislators, but he just kept hitting roadblocks, so I'm glad he kept his head down and got it done.
This Friday is Movie with the Cop on our front lawn of City Hall. They'll be playing the movie Sing. Just in case you know anybody that wants to participate, they had a very good first showing in December, and I think this one will also be just as good. I met with the city manager of South Daytona about a month or so ago, and he turned me on to an idea that they were doing in South Daytona where the code enforcement officers in their travels would recognize homes that were nice. Remember our old beautification award where the commission would be involved? Well, this just involves the code officers where they would drive around and they'd see a property that was worthy of a recognition, and they would give them a yard sign and a little certificate, and we publish it on Facebook. And in South Daytona, it is extremely successful, and it even got to the point where the residents are kind of fighting to get the award. So we decided that we're going to try to adopt that same process. So we have 2 code officers, compliance officers, and they're going to award one residential property each month. So there'll be two a month that each officer will recognize, and we'll try to get recognition of some of the good things that are going on in the city. So we had designed a very similar yard sign that we're going to
Oh, wow, that's
put
nice.
in there.
Wow,
And so
I like
we-
that.
We'll get some neighbors and homeowners that'll start competing to get this award in their yard, and we'll be able to post it
That's
out on
nice.
Facebook and get a little bit of recognition going
Well,
for the good.
Why don't we put something to start on Facebook about that sign and some of the details of what we're doing?
Yeah.
Because I think people will like that. That is nice.
Make sure Brian's in the picture, though.
Yeah, Brian, you make the sign.
So you said there was going to be two a month? One?
Each of the code officers work a Saturday a month, so on that Saturday, they'll go ahead and they'll identify a property and they'll place it and get a picture and give them a little certificate that says, beautification award. And
Sign like that.
so it'll be up there for a couple of weeks, and then they'll take it down, and then the next month when they work the Saturday, they'll find another property. So we
They're
should
just
be
going to
able,
go and stick it in the yard?
I'm sorry?
The homeowner's going to know about it, or they're just
Oh,
going
yeah.
to? Oh.
Yeah, no, that's just gonna, yeah. Take
I
a
want them
picture
to
with
get
them.
shot.
Yeah.
If you can, if it's not a spontaneous thing, if the commission could be aware of when and who these awards are being given to, and if on a Saturday we're able to be there, it'd be nice to have a commissioner there.
We can
Maybe
certainly
whatever
do
district
that.
it is,
I can tell you in South Daytona, they just do it.
just pop it in.
Yeah, they just knock on the door and say, hey, we want to recognize you, and they put it in the ground and give them a certificate. So it seems to be very successful. We've done it the other way, where the commission gets involved and it becomes a big timing issue.
Yeah, we probably need to stay out of it.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not bad for us to show up and congratulate them and.
If it's in your district, we can call the district commissioner and certainly let the mayor know about it, and if you're available, by all
Sounds more
means.
spontaneous than it, like, it
Yeah.
just
But
happens.
we have no problem notifying the district commissioner and the mayor of something that's happening in there.
Okay.
That'll work.
Just residential, no commercial?
At this point, just residential, yeah. Just a reminder, our ECHO grant is going in front of the county council on Tuesday, January 18th, and we're hoping that if you're available that morning at 9:30 to be there to support the project. In case any questions come up, we'd like to have as much support from the commission as possible. I know a lot of folks from Pictona are going to be there wearing their shirts in support of the project, and some may even be able to stand up and speak in support of the project, that we need to get past this last hurdle of one more approval from the county council in order to get that money awarded to the project and keep that moving forward. The State of the City is the next day, on Wednesday, the 19th, over at Sika Hall. It's a luncheon. The mayor and I have been kind of putting some thoughts together for his presentation, and we didn't set up where anybody else is going to speak. If anybody wants to speak, certainly let us know now,
I'm good.
and we'll make a spot for you, but I think go back to the old way. I've been working with the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club on signage on Ridgewood Avenue, and we got the estimate in. We were going to support that with a 50% grant from the CRA. The cost would be just under $11,000, with each of the clubs paying just over $2,700 for the sign. It would be a multi-indication sign. It would have the YMCA and a little message board and a Boys and Girls Club and the City of Holly Hill logo on it. We get a lot of complaints that nobody knows that we have a Boys and Girls Club and a YMCA in the city, and this would identify them. It would be located south of our south entrance, in front of that retention pond area there. So it'll be an illuminated sign that'll look very similar to the ones we have back here on Daytona Avenue.
That should help them out a lot.
What's that?
That should help them out a lot.
We're hoping. There are some improvements that have been taking place at the YMCA lately, and it may be because they're making changes in Ormond Beach that are forcing them to make changes at Holly Hill. But they did do some improvements where they installed LED lights in the gymnasium. The pool has been heated. I got a nice letter from a resident who's been utilizing the pool on a daily basis and is very appreciative of that. You just approved the the roof on the YMCA, and right after that goes on, Bill Gallagher with SolarFit is going to be putting a solar system on the roof to help keep the cost down on what that's going to be. So everything's kind of moving in a good direction. You are all aware that today was the deadline for Fountainhead to have something back to the commission, and we didn't get anything done in time. That means the option on parcels 3 and 4 have expired, and what happens with that from this point forward is yet to be determined. I just want to make you aware of that. And then lastly, we had a work session scheduled for tonight, which we canceled, and that was to discuss capital improvement projects over the next 3 or 4 years. I'll try to reschedule that either at the next meeting or the one after that. But the next meeting, we have planned the work session on the widening of LPGA, and we're going to have an engineer from Newkirk who deals with the DOT quite often to come in, maybe answer some questions. But what I wanted to do is also hand this out to each of you. This was given to me at the Elected Officials Roundtable yesterday, and it is the Volusia County road program of the projects that they have going on out in the next several years. And I just wanted to give it to you so that you're kind of aware of what's happening from the county level, what's on their road improvement projects, what's funded and what's not funded. There's about $100 million worth of projects that they have on here that are not funded. So I just want you to keep that in mind. So I got it yesterday, so I figured I'd hand it out to everybody, make sure you're aware of it today. And that's all that I have.
Great, thank you, Mr. Forte. Mr. Simpson, do you have anything?
No comments.
Okay, Mrs. Manning? Nothing. Scott? All right, I have a few things tonight. Speaking on the BOPA, the Board of Planning and Appeals, Arthur Burns, as mentioned earlier, did have to resign today due to an appointment to a county board. And I just wanted to address this with Mr. Simpson, because I haven't been able to talk to you about this. The problem is so-called dual office holding, and Arthur had talked to me about this, and the county had apparently given him the opinion that the personnel board is considered a quote-unquote office. There's a lot of gray language in the state statutes for that, but I read through several attorney general opinions, and it didn't seem to me that our Board of Planning and Appeals met the criteria to be an office, meaning he could serve on both boards. And I know there's another member of the Personnel Board for the county that serves on a board of a different city, and that's why I looked into it. Arthur has a lot of institutional knowledge, and that's why I looked this up, because we're losing someone that has, known the city since the 80s. What makes it a office? And I know that's a tough question, but is there something binding that our Board of Planning and Appeals has that we don't approve?
The fact that they can make a final decision on an appeal from an administrative decision at staff level, if you make a final determination, that makes it an office. I can't remember the last time that occurred, because everything else they do is advisory.
Right.
But this was really an issue of the county prohibits any of their board members from serving. It wasn't a constitutional dual office holding issue as much as the county has a provision that says you cannot be an officer of any other board the way the county defines officer. And they were looking at kind of broadly. It wasn't really it was a dual office holding prohibition it's in our state constitution as much as it is the county's provision.
Internally.
And I talked to the county attorney that was addressing the issue, and I mentioned the situation that you mentioned of another city, and they will be looking into that.
Okay.
Too bad.
Not to throw that person under the bus, but
Good.
Well, at least you didn't say the name.
no, I didn't say the name.
Or the city.
Or the city. They can figure it out. But what is right. So, it must have just passed.
Y'all would have to make the decision, but, I think we would have to possibly amend our code to say that there are no final decisions on any issue made by our BOPA.
Okay, but I don't
It would
think
be
we need.
Purely advisory at every level, because I talked to the attorney about that. I said, and they were going to get back to me if they needed to, but I never heard back.
Well, the fact that there is an appeals process that can end with them it means that they are in office, so, due to Attorney General, so it's a moot point.
And the interesting thing is, the county personnel board, I don't believe is an office, because they are purely advisory. But they prohibit anybody serving on there who has another office.
Okay,
So it's not a dual office, based on my recollection, my conversation. They are more of an advisory board,
just internally.
but their rule says you can't serve on that board if you are in an office of another city.
Okay,
So
perfect.
so it really wasn't a dual office holding as much as it was a county regulation.
Well, thank you for that clarification. So, with that, I will be looking at future people, and hopefully by next meeting, I can have someone to present, to nominate to you, Commission. So I'll look into that. Mr. Forte, we used to receive a monthly financial report from Stella, and we haven't had one in a while, and I really, really appreciated those. It gave us a snapshot throughout the year so we could follow along, and I don't know if the commission really enjoyed that as well, but I would ask that that's reinstated.
Well, I
Mrs.
don't
Gurney.
think it was uninstated, if there's such a word.
Okay, yeah, just
I think Stella's
few
been
months.
tied up with the new software program, so
Okay.
I haven't gotten it, so she'll probably catch up at the year end and getting the software
Okay,
tied up,
understandable.
and people out of the office. It's been trying, so as soon as I get them, they haven't been canceled. It might
Okay.
just be a month late.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just really appreciated receiving those, so we can keep track where we are throughout the year. As you mentioned, January 19th for the public at 11:30, there will be a presentation of the state of the city at Sika Hall. If you would like to attend that, please get with our Chamber of Commerce. We will be having a luncheon to do that. In the future, Mr. Forte and I spoke about the potential of having it here and doing more of like a PowerPoint presentation, and maybe still do it through the chamber, but also do possibly an evening event for the community that can come out. And I would, if the commission would like to, involve more commissioners in that process. This year, we are in a lot of transition year. We're in the midst of a lot of projects that haven't been completed yet. And next year, there will be quite a few projects that will be completed and a lot to talk about. So it's an interesting year for us to give the state of the city, because not a lot was fully completed just yet, based on COVID and some other issues. But so I encourage everyone to attend if you are so inclined. I also wanted to congratulate our new captain, Captain Yates. Chief, if you could send our congratulations from the commission to him, and we look forward to the pinning ceremony at our next commission meeting. We're grateful to have Mr. Yates serve this community. We know how much he cares about it in the police department, so thank you very much. And with that, that is all I have tonight, so we're going to go over to Vice Mayor John Penny. Do you have anything?
Just for the commission, just for the mandatory ethics training that we have to take annually, the Volusia League of Cities will be offering that February 11th from 8 to 12. Look for an email, it'll probably come out next week about that. It's going to be at Daytona State. It's no cost to attend, but it is required that you do it annually.
February 11th.
It's a Friday.
Okay. Perfect. And that would be sent out in email?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything further?
That's it.
All right, Commissioner Curry?
Thank you. I don't really have anything. I want to tell everybody congratulations that was recognized tonight. And aren't great things happening in Holly Hill? I am so excited. I'm sorry, I can't contain myself. You guys probably think I've gone just crazy, but I'm excited. Year 2022 is going to be our year. We got a lot of stuff, like you said, a lot of things in the works. I love Holly Hill. I love everybody in Holly Hill. So thank you guys. It's great working with you. So that's all I have.
Thank you,
I was
Commissioner.
full of love tonight, I guess.
Commissioner Danio?
Commissioner Daniel, only, Mr. Forte, stop yakking. I gotta ask you something. The Wade Park at the end of 15th Street,
Somewhere over there.
it needs help. Who, is that Antoine, or can you take a look at it for me? Yeah, that's the only thing I had written down. It was like we were walking and it just had some issues or something, but.
No, that was at Holman Park.
Other than that, thanks for coming out, guys, and bearing with us for an hour and a half, so see you in a couple of weeks.
All right, Commissioner Johnson?
Holly Hill's growing pretty fast, I like it, but, you know, I like the way they're doing it with more of a recreational sports thing. It's industrial and same old thing, even the old tub racing junkyard. That's not in Fort Miles shop, it's all, they built a storage facility back in there, I didn't think they'd ever get that approved with all the switch in the junkyard. They got it all done, and it's working out too. Well, I just looked at this, I just took a quick look at this thing here, that DOT is coming out with.
Ain't doing it on any other one.
Put this, potential future projects. This is almost a joke in my book. It says, county thoroughfare road segment funded or constructed by roads. It says LPGA Boulevard widening from 2 lanes to 4 lanes from US 1792 to 95 interchange. What do you mean, potential? That's one of the most important things on the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody has to give them some kind of warning about something. And this deal about they have to do studies about everything, and it takes so long to do studies, so much money off. I've already done a lot of the studies, so therefore they've saved a lot of money there. I've already done that just by driving in them all the time and seeing how they are. And one of them is that interchange up at US 1 and I-95. I've already figured out how they could do that and save a lot of money. And so many, it's on LPGA and things, it's just totally ridiculous. But what are you gonna do? I guess that's one reason I wanted to get on the TPO board, because I don't know if they even like me on there or not, because I'm probably the only one that talks about the roads. Everybody else talks about office projects and different things like that and all. We need them, and I know we need them, because I probably travel as much as anybody in this area, and I see how bad they are. And no matter how many projects we have or whatever we have to be able to get back and forth to them and all, you know. When they get to phase 2 pickleball, they have international tournaments, they have the RV park and everything, every single thing. When that GPS, you put on and say, how do I get to this address? How do you think they're gonna point you from I-4 or I-95 and all that?
It takes a long time to get to 95.
Are they gonna come right in on LPGA? They're gonna say, come on LPGA on that GPS, and here we're gonna run all these little 2-lane roads and things like that. It's just totally ridiculous. That's where we are. I just have to keep pushing as much as I can. I know it won't get completed in my lifetime, but I'm planning on getting started.
There you go. And I look forward to that discussion at our next commission meeting. Is that all you have for us tonight? All right. And I want to just thank everyone for coming out and spending your evening with us. And if there's nothing further from this commission, this meeting is adjourned.
Actually, I gotta run to Sam's right now on the way home.